Alright, so again, this first little bit here is me just giving my overall thoughts before we have a big spoiler section. So again, if you wish to avoid, you pretty much know what to do. There'll be cut points in between. Alright? Okay, so my thoughts on the last 3 episodes of The Mandalorian, episodes 6 through 8, I'm going to give them a B. There's some really good action. It seems we finally have some form of closure across the board here, though there are still probably a few points that will be resumed if they do a season 4. They're probably going to do a season 4. The show's still pretty popular. But yeah, overall it's fine, but there's still some clunkiness to it. Parts felt rushed at times. It felt like, again, things that maybe could have been done earlier in the season were instead pushed to these later points, which made them feel real fillery. Subplots, which should have been, plots that should have been subplots in other episodes were instead just plots in main episodes. Overall, again, it just felt to a bit of an uneven pacing throughout the whole thing that made these last 3 episodes feel a little rushed. Even though they had 8 episodes, they really should have had more time to, at least address things as well as they could. Again, when you look at a series like, say, Andor, which had 2 episodes where absolutely nothing happened, this almost overcorrected the other way and rushed way too much. So yeah, overall, like I said, a B. Solid, enjoyable, fun. My thoughts on the series overall, at least the season overall, again, B. Again, the overall, like I said, I'm just going to keep repeating myself here, but yeah. Like I said, good storytelling, good action, good characterization, but again, wonkiness with pacing, subplots that are, again, plots that should have been subplots throughout episodes, ideas that should have been addressed earlier and not saved to the last possible minute. Again, just led to a feeling of uneasiness, and, again, we'll probably tackle a bit more in the spoiler section. And so, yeah, again, overall, a B. Still fun, still enjoyable. Like, I didn't hate it as much as so many other people, though, again, a lot of those people are just doing it for the clicks. Like I said, it just wasn't bad, but, there's still room for improvement.
Here's the new Star Wars Death Star space station that you put together. Action figures each sold separately.
Darth Vader's firing a laser cannon. It's been hit. He's afterload. Take the elevator. Hurry! Now cross the light bridge. You won't escape me. Jump, Luke. Oh, no. The trash compactor. There's a trash monster. The wall's closing. Saved.
Kenner's new Star Wars Death Star space station. Action figures each sold separately.
Let's get out of here, Han Solo. Careful, Luke Skywalker.
Introducing Death Star World. 2 play sets in 1. New from Star Wars Micro Collection line. 14 die-cast figures and action poses included.
Death Star Escape has an elevator and a cannon that explodes. Wow! It connects to the Death Star compactor. It's you and me, Ben Kenobi. What's this? Oh, no! The wall! Run for it! Beat it!
Death Star World from Star Wars Micro Collection line. Play sets also sold separately. Figures included. New from Kenner.
Kenner proudly presents Star Wars Electronic Battle Command, the computerized space battle game.
Enemy scan on. I see you.
Battle stations.
Red alert.
Star Wars Electronic Battle Command has computer scanners, force units, invisible shields.
Fire!
3 levels of play, basic, intermediate, and advanced.
My TIE fighter's hit.
Hey, Dad, let's play the basic game. You always get carried away.
Star Wars Electronic Battle Command from Kenner.
Okay, so again, this is the big spoiler section, so skip to here if you want to avoid everything. I will say after this too, there's going to be a minor point where I give up, again, my overall thoughts on everything. Again, probably delving a bit more into the negatives. There'll be some minor spoilers in that section too, but it won't be too terrible. Like I said, I'll try to avoid the big ones in that part, but for now, this is the big spoiler section, so again, skip there if you want to avoid. Alright? Okay. Anyway, so yeah, episode 6 is called, Guns for Hire. Basically, the idea is Bo-Katan and Din Djarin and Grogu are going to the planet, so what did I write down here? I can't remember. Privateer headquarters. Basically, they're going after Bo-Katan's former Mandalorian group who broke away from her because she lost the Darksaber, and they're trying to re-recruit them to finally retake Mandalore. They've been operating as mercenaries, privateers off of this resort planet, whose name I don't think I ever completely wrote down. But we see that this is where the Jack Black Lizzo cameo shows up. They are the rulers of this planet. Jack Black is a former, I don't know if he's a scientist, or he worked for the Empire, but because of this amnesty program, he got assigned here. He fell in love with Lizzo, who was part of the royal family, and they are trying to do things legit. They've actually accelerated. It's sort of this. It's not quite Canto Bight, but it's definitely one of those like very resort town, Palm Springs-y type places where nothing really bad happens. All the servants are automated droids, so no one there really has to work or anything like that. And they've been having a problem recently in that some of the droids have been malfunctioning, and because their privateers are all kind of, they operate out of there and they offer a little bit of protection here and there, but they don't want to, bring a lot of problems into it. They want Bo-Katan and Din Djarin to investigate as to why these things are going on. And so they go through, Din Djarin is still very distrusting of droids. They go to a droid bar, they try to hit up information there. They go to this one point where it's likely that the next malfunction is about to happen. Din Djarin goes as far as to start kicking some of the droids to get one of them to malfunction, which seems like a bad idea, but okay. They figure out which one it is. They eventually backtrack it to the head of security, who is played by Christopher Lloyd. And it turns out that he is a former Imperial officer who is still very much loyal to the Empire, and he doesn't really like the fact that he's been pushed into this... Sorry, there's a motorcycle going by. He's been pushed into this, know-nothing job supervising robot droids, which, is not entirely pleasing to him. And then afterwards, because of this, Lizzo and Jack Black's characters grant the permission to talk to the privateers. And we get the return of Mercedes Mone, I guess I should call her now, the former Sasha Banks of WWE. Which is weird. She said she wasn't in this season, but she comes back, and she's not the leader. It's the other guy whose name just completely escapes me, no matter how many times I wrote it down. Bo-Katan confronts him for leadership, and they said, well, we should be actually following him. He's the one with the Darksaber, and it's like, and Din Djarin is like, look, I don't care about this. Heck, anyway, I lost this in battle, and she picked it up and saved me, so therefore, technically, it's now hers. Because he harkens back to, was the second or third episode. So technically it's now hers, and it's like, okay, well, we're going to reunite with the Mandalorians and retake Mandalore now. Like I said, overall, fine episode. I'm not up in arms about the celebrity cameos as everyone else was. Like, who cares? No one cared when Kumail Nanjiani was in Obi-Wan. No one cared when again, Carl Weathers and Werner Herzog were in season 1. Anyway, I don't understand the... Yeah, again, like, I don't... I just don't understand what the complaining was in that. But yeah, the Bo-Katan is now like officially back in charge, which is going to lead into the 7th episode, which is The Spies. We finally get our first appearance of Moff Gideon in this. He's obviously been freed. It was implied it was by Mandalorians. You would think it would be by Bo-Katan's crew, but no. We'll get into what that is. But Elia Kane tips him off to some of the actions that the Mandalorians have had, in particular the overthrow of the pirates on Navarro. And yeah, and that means like, yeah, they're coming to retake Mandalore. And so Gideon, who is now part of this cabal of former Imperials, one of whom was played by Xander Berkeley, he's talking about it, and they're talking about, they need to try to get their cloning process back on track with the doctor who whose mind they wiped earlier. So, yeah, that's not going to really be too good. But Gideon has his own plan. He says, we need to stop the Mandalorians now. I need these special troopers. Can we get them? He's like, okay. And as this is happening, obviously we have the reunification of the Mandalorian tribes. They are setting out, they meet on Navarro, where Kiva turns over IG-11. He's not fully restored just yet, but he can be piloted, which allows Grogu to pilot him, and he's rechristened IG-12. And so Grogu is allowed to pilot him. He can even communicate a bit with him by pressing a button, so he just says yes or no to things. And so then we get, you know, they go from there to Mandalore. They begin looking, they come across Mandalorians who survived the Purge and been living underground. They recognize the ships and they're there. So they all make their way eventually to the Great Forge, or what's left of it. And it seems like someone's actually been cleaning up around there. And it's there that Moff Gideon attacks, because it turns out this has actually been his base of operations the whole time. He has been making specialized dark troopers or whatever who have DNA of not only Mandalorians, Jango Fett, yeah, not just the Jango Fett DNA, his DNA, Jedi DNA, all the DNA. And they spring this attack. They have an ambush. The one big clunky Mandalorian whose name, again, I'm not really good with the names in this, I'm sorry. He basically sacrifices himself so the others can try to escape. Din Djarin winds up getting taken hostage, and that's how that episode ends, which leads into the finale, which is called The Return. Okay, so this is the finale of The Return. I had to take a break. There's a lot to cover there. Anyway, yeah, this is The Return, and so from there, you know, Din Djarin is being taken into custody, but he manages to break free, and it turns out Grogu broke away from the other Mandalorians to come to Mando's aid. As this is happening, Bo-Katan and the others find this hidden cave that they can duck into. They manage to get word up to the ship to bring reinforcements. Her former rival, who she beat back in episode 6, winds up piloting their stolen Star Destroyer. You know, basically, he winds up sacrificing it as Gideon's forces are attacking. No, the Armorer does not turn heel in this. There were no betrayals. That's probably might be a bit of a, I don't know if it's necessarily a bad thing, but in the long run, I guess it doesn't really change the plot that much. But this is all leading to basically a big kind of 3-on-1 Gideon versus Grogu, Bo-Katan, and Din Djarin. Early on, Din Djarin finds, because he uses R4 to disable the security measures in the facility, or R5, not R4, R5D4, yeah. Anyway, he uses R5D4 to disable the security measures. They enter into a room containing a group of Moff Gideon's clones, who he apparently incorporated Jedi DNA because he wants to be able to wield the Force. He also has new Beskar armor, so again, he's the ultimate warrior. He's clone trooper, Mandalorian, and Jedi all in one. Okay. He calls on his Praetorian guards. They also has who kind of separate Grogu from Mando. They destroy the IG-12 armor. Grogu manages to break free. Bo-Katan manages to distract Moff Gideon long enough for Mando to get to Grogu's aid and save him. They, like I said, are all beginning to attack just as the flaming wreckage of the giant Star Destroyer comes falling to the planet. That they manage to pilot it towards the facility, so all the other Mandalorians get out as the ship is about to crash. It crashes. They manage to get Gideon into a position where he is burned to death, but because there's clones, there's probably going to be another Moff Gideon pretty soon. And Grogu was able to use the Force to protect Bo-Katan and Din Djarin from the fire. After this, the Great Forge is reignited. So, yeah, Mandalorian is reclaimed. They bathe in the waters so that many are allowed to become full Mandalorians now. And except Grogu isn't, because he can't take... Yeah, he's still too young to take the oath. He can't properly speak. And, the IG-12 suit was destroyed. So, basically, Din Djarin adopts him and begin training him as an apprentice to, eventually get him to take the oath one day. That being said, they have to go on a quest to do this, and they have to go on a journey, and to do so, Mando elects to become basically an off-the-books bounty hunter along the Outer Rim for the New Republic. He contacts Carson Teva, basically sets up this arrangement. They also find parts to finally reestablish IG-11, who becomes the new Marshal of Navarro, where Mando gets his own private plot of land again. Excuse me. So yeah, that really summed everything up there. Like I said, overall fun. I liked a lot of the action sequences. I do think the story had a good, reasonable sense of closure. Though, of course, they left parts open for later exploring. They're obviously going to do a Season 4. Wouldn't be surprised if Moff Gideon shows up again. I would like it if he didn't. At least, if we're going to do the clone thing, maybe hold it off till Season 5 if we get a Season 5. Okay? Maybe just have a Moff Gideon-less season. I think that would be okay. Okay? Just my personal thing there. But yeah, overall, like I said, not terrible, but pretty fun. It's just, again, it did have kind of a rushed feeling to it.
Escape pod landing. Where am I?
It's the new Star Wars Land of the Jawas that you put together. Action figures sold separately. You can move the action lever and make the Jawa capture R2-D2.
R2? Are you all right? What are they doing to you?
You can raise the elevator and make R2-D2 disappear into the sandcrawler.
Hang on, R2. I'm right behind you. Me too.
Kenner's new Star Wars Land of the Jawas. Action figures each sold separately.
Imperial TIE Fighter, attack! X-Wing spotted at base! I'm in for a dogfight!
Imperial TIE Fighter and X-Wing Fighter, new from Star Wars Micro Collection line, each sold separately.
He's in my sight! Got me! I've been hit! I'm crashing! They're built for heavy battle action. They can right back together again. And each ship comes with a die-cast figure. The sky is where we belong!
Imperial TIE Fighter and X-Wing Fighter from Star Wars Micro Collection line, each sold separately, figures included, new from Kenner.
From Kenner, it's the Star Wars Mini Action Figure Collector's Case. Action figures sold separately. The Collector's Case holds 24 Star Wars action figures, like Stormtrooper, R5-D4, and Snaggletooth. It comes with 2 plastic trays to keep them in, or you can turn the trays over and display all your figures in action poses. You can pack up Star Wars action figures and take them with you.
The Star Wars Mini Action Figure Collector's Case. Action figures each sold separately. From Kenner. It's the new Star Wars lightsaber from Kenner. Inflation required, batteries not included. You can pretend you have powers when you switch on Kenner's Star Wars lightsaber.
Ready to feel the Force? Yeah! Switch on your Star Wars lightsabers, close your eyes and go! I got it! Me too! Zap! You passed the test! The Force is with you!
The Star Wars lightsaber, new from Kenner. Balloons not included. It's the Star Wars X-Wing Aces target game.
Instruments check! Attack! Attack! TIE fighters, get him, Luke! Nice going, got him! Good shot, kid! You got him! Good score, kid! Time's running out! The Force, Luke! Use the Force! I'm an ace! Don't get cocky, Ace. It's my turn!
The Star Wars X-Wing Aces target game, new from Kenner's Star Wars collection.
Okay, so again, this is going to be a bit more of the delving into sort of the machinations and problems I've had with the season. It's not terrible, and I'll try to keep the spoilers as low as I can, but there still will probably be spoilers here, so if you do want to skip, I understand. There'll be another commercial thing for you to watch. Don't worry. Anyway, yeah. So again, like I said, overall, the show was fine this year. It definitely, I think, flowed nicely. I think to the episodes pretty well. Like, yeah, I wasn't like dreading watching the show at any point because, like, trust me, it got that way with the last few streaming series on Star Wars. Like, even Obi-Wan, which is a show I really liked. You know, even Andor, which got great towards the end. Again, there were parts where it's just, again, when you had those 2 episodes back to back where nothing happened. It's got, you know, again, it's like, I want some breathing room, please. Just a little bit of breathing room, please. It kind of felt that way where it's just kind of like, oh, everything's getting clogged up here and I don't know what to do. But this case, I liked watching the show. It didn't feel like a chore to watch it, so those were the positives. Again, the negatives, it just really had to do with all the pacing, where you had this, like I said, the whole amnesty program subplot would have actually been really interesting had it not just been crammed into 1 episode. You know, if it had just been, you know, maybe after, you know, Din Djarin reunites with Bo-Katan, you know, we get, you know, well, instead of him wandering around Mandalore in a bunch of silent parts, we flash back to Coruscant a little bit, and then that's where we build up Dr. Bashram, or whatever his name was. And yeah, again, that just sort of lay in the problem there. And then it just, instead, all of that got crammed into 1 episode, and again, it felt like, oh yeah, that happened. And then we didn't really revisit it until the second to last episode of the season. So again, yeah, like, if you're going to, like, why not build into that? Why not lay in the idea that Gideon is still around? If you, again, make it have a sense of flow to it that it really didn't have. And instead, it just felt like you're cramming everything in when you had, I think, plenty of time in 8 episodes to try to tell a story like that. I think it would have worked fine if you had, like I said, done it just that way. Instead, like, but, you know, and what we got, while not necessarily bad, just felt really clunky at times. And, that was where it felt really kind of grindy. Where we're doing things just to kill time when it's like, you know, couldn't we be planning to take over Mandalore? Like, you know, even the plot threads there. You know, Bo-Katan seeing the Mythosaur, yeah, again, didn't really come to pass. During the reignition of the Forge, we do see the Mythosaur reawaken again. Nothing comes of it. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get a follow-up to that. Maybe. But, yeah, for now, yeah, kind of nothing. Again, you know, when we thought the Armorer was going to, you know, have a heel turn and turned out to have betrayed them, nope, that didn't happen. You know, it's just these ideas that they were planting that they didn't seem to just follow through on. And it did kind of bring the season down a little bit. Not, like I said, not enough. Like I said, overall, I enjoyed the show. It was fine. But yeah, it didn't quite have the sense of fun and wonder that definitely the first season had. So yeah, it is kind of, I don't know if it's, you know, beginning to wear out its welcome, but yeah, it is definitely feeling like, okay, you know, they're going to need to do something spectacular to bring this back. And even then, I don't like using that term because it sounds like it was bad, because it wasn't bad. It was fine. But yeah, like, there was definitely room for improvement, and that's what I'm basically trying to get in there.
Snowspeeder to Falcon, my left wing set. Emergency landing.
It's Millennium Falcon and Rebel Armored Snowspeeder. You have to put them together. Batteries for each not included. Ships and Rebel Commander action figure, each sold separately.
Enemy approaching. Test by laser machine gun. Close cockpit. Prepare for takeoff. Resume mission. Yeah. All systems go.
Millennium Falcon, a Rebel Armored Snowspeeder sold separately. Action figure also sold separately from Kenner's Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back collection.
Dagobah sure is strange. Now, R2-D2, be careful. Uh-oh.
Action figures each sold separately, like Luke Skywalker and R2-D2 with sensor scope.
R2, come out of there right now. Help me locate Yoda with your sensor scope.
You found someone, I'd say.
Your search is over, Luke. Ben Kenobi and Yoda.
Learns quickly, this young Jedi.
Yoda, R2-D2, and other action figures each sold separately from Kenner's Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back collection.
Chewbacca, this way. Marv! Take me to Han Solo and Princess Leia. I must warn them.
New C-3PO that you can take apart, and other action figures each sold separately.
What happened? Han, Leia, sneak attack. I'm all in pieces. What a mess. Put him down, Chewie.
How's that, C-3PO?
Wonderful. Marv! Chewie says you have great legs.
Han Solo, new C-3PO with backpack, and other action figures each sold separately from Kenner's Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back collection.
Okay, so I don't know what the next review is going to be. Right now, I'm guessing it's probably going to be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in May. Just nothing in April that's really spurring me to go to the theater. Money's not necessarily tight, you know what I mean. Money isn't necessarily getting tight. It's just, yeah, nothing to really get too worked up about. Right now, Guardians 3 is probably the best bet. Streaming-wise, I don't know if there's anything really coming up. Secret Invasion starts in June. You know what? I'll see the Little Mermaid remake. There's also one other thing I'd like to see. It's in June, so that's what the movie TV review is probably going to be. I might come up with something, but I'm not entirely sure what it'll be just yet. After that, it's probably going to be I think it's probably going to be Backlash, isn't it? 'Cause is that in May or is that in April? I can't remember. Again, I'm sorry, I'm a little spaced out right now. I maybe should have thought this through a bit. Anyway, there'll be some wrestling to cover, obviously. The random trade review on Nightwing and Night in Bloodhaven will be up on at least the 30th, I believe. So, you know, that should still come out on schedule. Still working with WWE 2K23. If you followed me on social media, you might have seen some of the funnier stuff I've done in there. Obviously, it won't be playing on YouTube because a lot of it would get copyright claimed, but you never know. Maybe I could, if I can, I'll try to see if I can slip one in. If you saw my creation of what I did with the Cody Rhodes entrance, for example. It should still be out there. It was only a few days ago, so if you need to go barreling through my Twitter feed or something for that, that's where it is. Anyway, see you all next time. Hey guys, remember you can request a movie or a television series for me to review at my Patreon at patreon.com/CPTime for Cat Productions. Also, remember to like the video, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so that you can be alerted to further videos.